There is a strange moment when you realize you are no longer connected, not broken, not angry, not even sad, just separate. You walk through rooms that feel larger than they should. You hear voices, but they don't reach you anymore. You see faces, but they feel like photographs. Everything exists. Nothing touches you. Isolation is not loneliness. Loneliness still hopes. Isolation has already stopped expecting. You stop explaining yourself because no one is really listening. You stop reaching out because reaching feels heavy. You stop reacting because reacting costs energy you no longer want to spend. Days pass. You notice it, but it doesn't matter. Time becomes a soft blur. Morning and night start to feel identical. You are present, but not involved. Alive, but distant. You don't feel trapped. You feel removed, like someone quietly stepped back from life. No goodbye, no announcement, just distance. And the strange part is, it doesn't hurt as much as people think. It feels calm, cold, empty, safe. Isolation becomes a place, a dark room inside your mind where nothing can reach you. No expectations, no disappointments, no noise, just you and the silence. But silence has weight. It slowly presses against your chest. Not enough to panic, just enough to remind you that you are still human, still here, still breathing, even if you don't feel like it. You don't want to disappear. You just don't know how to return. So you stay. In between. Not lost, not found, not dead, not alive. Just isolated. Sometimes you ask yourself how it became this way. There was no single moment, no explosion, no collapse, just small distances that kept growing, a step back, then another, until one day you realized you were standing alone, not because people left, but because you stopped inviting them in, not out of hate, not out of anger, out of exhaustion. You got tired of being misunderstood, tired of translating your inner world into words that never fit, tired of explaining feelings that others only analyze. So, you simplified. You became quiet. You became smaller. You became distant. Not to punish anyone. Not to make a statement. Only to survive. Isolation becomes a shelter. A place where you don't have to perform. Where you don't have to be interesting. Where you don't have to be strong. You can simply exist. Nothing more. Nothing less. But slowly, you forget how your own voice sounds. Not the voice you speak with, the voice inside. The one that knows what you want, what you feel, what you miss. You start living on autopilot, eating when you're hungry, sleeping when you're tired, moving because your body moves, not because you choose. You don't dream much anymore, not because you have no dreams, but because dreaming requires hope, and hope requires vulnerability. Isolation feels safer than hope, because hope can break. Isolation just stays. Cold, stable, predictable. You tell yourself, I'm fine like this. And maybe you are, but sometimes, very quietly, a thought appears. Not loud, not dramatic, just a whisper. I don't want to be alone forever. You don't know what to do with that thought, so you ignore it. You let it pass, like everything else, but it keeps returning. Not every day, not every week, but often enough to matter. Isolation is not the end. It's a pause, a long breath between who you were and who you might become. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to escape. You don't need to transform. Not yet. Just stay aware. Just notice that you are still here. that you are still capable of feeling something, even if it's small, even if it's distant. Isolation doesn't mean you are broken. It means you have been carrying too much for too long, and you chose silence instead of collapse. That is not weakness. That is endurance. You are not invisible. You are not empty. You are not gone. You are resting in the dark. And one day, without announcement, without pressure, you will feel a quiet pull, not back to the world, not to people, but back to yourself. And that will be enough.